Hey everyone, Dan here. We are about an hour after close on Tuesday, June 8th. Today we're going to take an updated look at SoFi. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And let's jump right in. So this is the chart that we've been working on working off of for quite some time. Basically what I said up here was, if we can get this price to push toward 25 again, which seemed kind of unlikely as we were like wallowing down here, that there was a good opportunity that this huge positioning that was taken here by shorts would start to flip upside down, or at least threaten to turn upside down, and could force a lot of them to close in order to lock in what, little bit of profit they may have had from beating the stock down this much while incurring the relatively high fee to borrow that we've seen in SoFi. In today, you saw this enormous jump up. Now, I haven't seen anything that has signaled, that there was a news event. I saw some speculation that there was like insider knowledge that got out, but I can't get anything verified on there. There was what I think was some misinformation about SoftBank taking on 65 million shares, but then that seemed like that had happened previously. And so, folks have clear info on what the run-up was from, other than potentially shorts that took their position here, which at this point would have been 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago. Pretty reasonable time frame to try to close within, or shorts that took their position here during pre-market yesterday, where I'm pretty sure there was some type of pretty, at least slightly more sophisticated tactics going on to manipulate this down below 20. They may have closed out, gotten out of that position within about 2 days. So it could have been that stretched us up. Obviously, then, as is apt to happen, it's having a hard time getting through that 25 zone. There should be a decent level of support here, just rated about 24. So I would be looking for it to try really hard to hold that in the after hours, and we'll see what pre-market brings. But if not, we do still have this pretty solid bounce zone here at about the mid 23s. That's, I would hope, if it needs it, you can get a good bounce off of there and then make another run at that $25 mark. But if it makes enough runs at it, the selling pressure that it encounters there should die off, and the sales will have been consumed, and that'll leave way for the price to continue up and put additional pressure on any of those shorts that maybe took positions in this time frame or in this time frame, and would then be quite upside down in their positions. So we might see some quick closing out and then retaking of shorts, which is another thing that could have happened here. I think this is happening in a lot of these stocks that have high short interest. They're getting a lot of attention right now. I think the shorts are closing their positions and then kind of turning around and then taking more borrowed stock away from who's ever lending it to them and short selling that back into the market as the price has become much higher at that moment. If we look at the data from today, the fee staying in the 70s, that's good, and actually a slight tick up toward the end of the day. If we look at the day in total, there was 2.6 million shares available to get borrowed just from Interactive Brokers, not from all of the other brokerages that have potentially shares available to borrow, but just from Interactive Brokers. And then what do we see at open? That jumped down all the way to 5,000. So nearly the entire 2.6 million consumed. And so who knows how many millions of shares flooded the markets at that point, with minimal covering throughout the day. So mostly it was a huge, huge day for shorts to come flying into the market. I don't know if it spooked them. They clearly drove the price down quite significantly here, and I don't know if it spooked them that it sort of couldn't hold or couldn't break below this support zone here and rode up and they decided to close, or like I said, if it was some older positions from here and maybe even from all the way up here who at least had some potential profit on the table, the ones from over here anyway, and wanted to close out and maybe buy back in and try to run it back through one more time. But that's what I'd be looking for from the short data. We don't have the ratio yet today, but it should be quite high because that was a pretty significant borrowing. We see the close. We had a nice jump up. This chart is really weird because it just changed over, so it's almost like illogical to look at. So unfortunately, as that sort of develops, we can use that chart too. It's actually a good chart that I like to use sometimes, but not in this instance. And the ratio we get to here, as it stood yesterday, still maintaining in the 20s, which is still considered relatively high. I would expect it to have been significantly higher than that today, just again based on that one data point from Interactive Brokers, but we don't have a great reason to think that that wasn't systemic across the board with other brokerages as well, and that was just an anomaly with Interactive Brokers. So I would expect that there was a high ratio today, maybe pressing 30 again, like we saw back here. But to my mind, what I'll keep saying at the moment is we need these support and bounce zones to hold, and we need to get support at 2506. Support at 2506, I think, is a potential huge game changer for both just the momentum of the stock itself and a truly significant support and resistance zone in 2506. So if it gets true support there, it should be really strong support. And so then the ability for shorts who took positions when the stock price was much lower, which was for probably all of the shorts that are in at the moment, they would be completely upside down, and with that fee would be feeling increased pressure to close out those positions. The other upcoming thing that I'm really interested in is to get refresh data on this, because we still are working off of old let's see if we have it here. We're still working off of May 14th data. With the change in shares outstanding, with the SoFi ticker changing over, I'm interested to see what the short percentage of the float is since that number has changed. And we should be getting that May 31st number any day now, but that's the other thing that I'm really interested to see, to sort of just get a better sense of how much squeeze potential could this one have, as some stars are potentially aligning in order to see this play out. But it is a long haul to get there. There are a lot of things that have to square away and come into play if short squeezes are able to be played out. There's many more escape routes for the shorts than there are for the holders, whether those are institutional or retail or insiders, to force a short squeeze. That's much less likely to happen. But SoFi is doing what it can right now to try to make that happen, and today was sort of like proof of that. It is picking up quite a bit after hours here, so be careful with what may happen if the volume dies down quite low. The manipulation tactics that might be able to take advantage of that very low volume in the after hours. But let's see how our price zones here hold up and what we get in the pre-market. Well, I hope everyone had a good trading day and that your week is off to a good start. And thanks a bunch for watching. I will see you in the next video.